50 Plus in Montgomery County, a monthly program that is a voice for many, produced by the Commission on Aging, of which I am a community member. The show is insightful for people of all ages, and each episode takes a fresh look at important issues by spotlighting older adults in the community, representatives of services and programs, and activities of interest to older adults. My name is Katie, and on this month's show, we're going to discuss pets and the role they play in enriching our lives and well-being. The relationship between humans and pets go back a long time and no doubt started out as a practical one. They take care of us and we take care of them. Joining me is the Executive Director of People, Animals, Love, or POW, Mr. James Haworth. James is here to share with us today about how we can use the human-animal bond to comfort the lonely, ease the pain of the sick, and enrich lives of young people. POW dogs are listening to readers around our region. Hi, James.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. James, can you tell us the focus of POW?
Absolutely. Our organization, which is going to be 40 years old next year, is all about the human-animal bond. And we are trying to enrich people's lives through contact with animals and to just create awesome opportunities for people to engage with animals and to really improve the lives on both sides for humans and animals.
James, POW dogs and handlers visit 100 plus Washington, D.C. area hospitals, nursing homes, libraries, jails, schools, and more. Describe what some of those visits are like.
Well, many of them are group visits. So we'll take as many as 10 dogs for example, for a college campus during exam week, we might bring 8 or 10 dogs out to the quad and students pour out and just really enjoy an awesome, joyous time with the animals. Many of those students miss their dogs from home, and, during times of stress, they just love to be able to just take a few minutes of calming and visit with an animal. At the other extreme, many of our visits are just one dog, sometimes visiting with one person, maybe a hospice patient who is in their last months or weeks of life, and who would love to just bond with an animal for a little bit. And so they really run the range.
Now, James, you talked about the work that POW dogs and handlers do in terms of their visits. Can you give us a little bit more detail about your work in Montgomery County?
Absolutely. So we're very active in Montgomery County Public Schools. We enjoy visiting elementary school, middle schools, high schools. We also visit at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility in Boyd, Maryland, near Clarksburg, and have a very active and rewarding program with 2 Montgomery County agencies. The first is Montgomery Hospice, and also with the Jewish Social Services Agency, their hospice group. And hospice visits are some of the ones that we think are probably our most important work, where dogs get a chance to, be part of someone's life at the end. And we're really thankful for our relationships with Montgomery Hospice and with Jessa Hospice.
POW receives substantial national news coverage from Good Morning America to the Washington Post. What do you believe the impact that you're having on communities is?
Right. That media coverage was unexpected and awesome. And really, that happened at the beginning of the pandemic, when we had the chance to take our programs online, which we had never done before and never even imagined was possible. In fact, I would have argued confidently that visiting on screen would not have worked, but the program was an awesome success. And the national and even international news coverage brought us children, in this case, reaching us through Zoom from all over North America and other countries as well as dogs and handlers from all over the country and up into Canada. And so it's really changed our reach to something national, very unintentionally, but we're excited about it. But also in the Washington, D.C. area, which is where our roots are, and into Northern Virginia and Montgomery County, Prince George's County. It has given us just the chance to get the word out to more people, and we're busier than ever now.
James, as you get the word out, do you notice that there are also benefits such as maybe the psychological and social benefits?
Absolutely. I think that is where the calming influence of an animal can be so powerful. And many of our visits are calming. We strive sometimes to kind of have a Zen-like, relaxing environment. At the same time, other visits are simply joyous and sometimes chaotic. Some elementary school visits can be, really high energy with squeals of laughter. Not the picture that we think of when we say, "Oh, a therapy dog is coming to visit," but those are the benefits, really. And yeah, we're very excited about those.
That definitely sounds exciting. Now, what would you say about the intergenerational aspects of your work?
That's one of the things that really that caught us off guard as during the pandemic, as we moved on screen, was the power of connection really brought by that platform. Of specifically for us, we've been using Zoom, but the power of connection across generations, across continents at times, and across species, right? That is what has been made possible for us. One of the things that a program that has been very big for us has been for the children to read to the dogs on Zoom during the pandemic and up to now. Before the pandemic, we visited probably 30 area libraries on a regular basis across Montgomery County over into DC and Northern Virginia. But during the pandemic, the kids joined us on Zoom. We would get as many dogs joining and then pair them up for reading. And a number of times we've held Grandparents' Day, where the children invite their grandparents to join us. And we put the grandparents, in the breakout room with their grandchild reading to a dog. And sometimes those grandparents were 1,000 miles away and had been unable to visit with their kids. And so just an awesome time to connect. Another program that has worked beautifully online has been with the Jewish Council for the Aging in Montgomery County, which operates the Kensington Club, which is a social club for older adults who are diagnosed with early stage memory loss. And we bring dogs into their visits on screen for probably the first 10 or 15 minutes, where their handlers talk about how the dogs met and what the dogs enjoy doing and what they like to do on vacation, and ask questions with the club members and give them a chance to reminisce about the dogs and other animals who were important in their lives.
James, I'm glad you mentioned the Jewish Council for the Aged and the Commission. We do a lot of work in collaboration with them, and we definitely like their mission. Now, I have a quick question. Do you ever work with other species other than dogs?
We do. In our early days, several decades ago, I'm told that there were chickens and pigs in the program. I've been with PAL for 5 years. We have no chickens or pigs right now. I would love that, but we've focused more on traditional household pets. So we have a few cats. It's the rare cat who wants to jump in a car and go be held by strangers somewhere. But we have a couple of cats who thrive on that. We have a couple of rabbits, and those are very popular on screen and in person. And in our on-screen program, we have a horse named Rocket, lives in Nashville, who joins us periodically with our board president, Jessica Breedy Eisenberg, who lives there and takes us out to the farm. And the kids have loved visiting with Rocket, as well as the members of the Kensington Club.
Rocket, he sounds like a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So, James, you've talked a lot about the impact that your organization has on others. You've talked about the intergenerational aspect. I want to ask you a personal question. As the executive director, tell me how your work is benefiting your life.
Katie, one of the things that I've really enjoyed in this job is the chance to interact with so many volunteers. We have probably 500 volunteers in the program. And, when I say volunteers, these are people who have dogs in their homes and who have brought their dogs to us to be assessed for appropriateness for visiting. And so we're looking for dogs who are friendly and gentle, and who thrive on the attention of strangers. And so, but I've gotten to know literally hundreds of people through this organization. And oftentimes I'm walking on the street and I will recognize a dog, and then it's like, oh, there's Michael. And so it's been great to be able to connect in that way. And also, I've gotten insight. I've gotten into so many different places. I wouldn't normally get the chance to go into some federal office buildings or jails or emergency rooms in hospitals. And so with the program, I've just gotten a greater connection in the community, really.
I like that, a greater connection in the community. Now, speaking of volunteering, before we wrap, how can our listeners sign their dog up for volunteering, and how can we stay in contact with you?
Awesome. Well, our website has our contact info. That's peopleanimalslove.org. To volunteer, yeah, we have a process to kind of tell people about what we're doing and get a chance to meet the dog and handler in person and have everyone feel that, yes, this is a good fit. What we do, we have a 60-minute session on Zoom for people who want to learn about the program first. And so they join us there, and we talk about what we're looking for in dogs, what we're looking for in handlers, our expectations in terms of time. And then if they feel like, hey, this is the right time, then they sign up for an in-person interview. And we have a process that we take the dog and the handler through to just to get a sense for, hey, will this animal thrive in this situation? And can we feel good from an insurance perspective and every other reason, to have them in our program? I'm eager for volunteers for our virtual programs, which are on screen. And for that program, it doesn't matter if the dog is perfect for, with other dogs and so on. We're just going to see the dog on screen. And so this is a great way, particularly for our reading program with kids. It's a great way for older folks who have a dog in their home to be able to volunteer from their couch and engage with a youngster, most likely from another state, and to encourage their love for animals, to model a respectful and loving interaction with their own pet, and to encourage this kid to in their reading as well.
Well, James, this has been an informative conversation. Thank you for the opportunity to dialogue and for the work you do to keep the continuum of people, animals, and love thriving. We definitely have to have you back, and maybe next time with a pal dog.
That sounds great. I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you. Up next, we'll talk with Maria Anselmo, who is the Community Relations Manager for the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center in the Montgomery County Office of Animal Services. Welcome back to 50 Plus in Montgomery County. Here to talk about pet adoption is Maria Anselmo. Maria is the Community Relations Manager for the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center, operated by the Montgomery County Office of Animal Services. Hi, Maria.
Hello, I'm excited to be here, and I've got my co-host here. This is Nair, who's also
here. Maria, give us an overview of the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center.
Sure. Well, Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center is operated by Montgomery County's Office of Animal Services. We're located in Durwood on Muncaster Mill Road. The building opened in 2014. It's a state-of-the-art shelter. It's a very fancy place, and I recommend you come and visit us if you haven't. So we're an open admissions shelter, which means we take in all types of domestic animals for any sort of reason, whether it's their owner can no longer keep them, or they're stray animals that have been found and lost animals. And we work to reunite those that we can with their owners, and those that we can't, we work to find new homes for. So not only do we have your dogs and cats, but we also have, pigs and guinea pigs and rabbits. Sometimes we've got chickens or roosters. all sorts of different birds or reptiles. So if it's a domestic animal, we've probably cared for it at some point or another.
So your doors are open to all animals in need, from dogs and cats to farm animals, wildlife, and exotics.
Yes, that's true. So we have all sorts of things and staff that come in every single day of the year to care for them. And we have a whole lot of volunteers that also dedicate their time to making sure that every animal stay here is as happy and positive as it can be.
So Maria, some older adults are reticent to adopt pets in case their living situation changes. Can you tell us about older adults adopting older pets? For example, how well do older pets acclimate to their new home? And are there exceptions to the adoption fees for older pets?
Sure. So one of the great things about older pets is that they are easier than your younger ones. So older pets, they've learned some wisdom. They've slowed down a little bit. They're a bit less demanding on your time and your energy. They are much less demanding on your shoes and your carpets and your furniture because they've generally got some clue. They've made mistakes in the past and have grown out of them. So they're wonderful animals, and they tend to actually acclimate really quickly into new homes because they've lived in homes before. So it's not a totally new experience. So they get out of this shelter environment, which has been a new experience for them, and it's been a very stressful experience. And all of a sudden they're back in somebody's warm home with, you know, a lovely bed or couches or beds to lay on. And they're like, oh, I can take a deep breath and I'm relaxed now. And this is great. This person has, you know, gotten me out of that place, and now I am loyal to no end to them. So it's actually amazing how much easier it is to get new older pets settled into new places, and how quickly they tend to form a bond with the people that end up adopting them. We do have reduced fees for our older pets. So I'm gonna try and switch my camera around for Mayor. Mayor is one of our senior cats, and by senior, all I mean is that he is 8 years old and up, and all cats that are over the age of 8, their adoption fees are waived. Now, that certainly doesn't mean Nair is an old cat by any means. Cats are living to be, 18 years old, even older than that sometimes. So really, Nair's like middle-aged cat in my book. He's just as active as younger cats, but he is not the one that's going to be jumping on your head while you're trying to cook, or, climbing the curtains and causing all sorts of trouble like your young kittens are. So he's pretty happy to hang out in your lap for a bit, do his own exploring, take his naps, go hang out in cat trees, do his little bit of exploring, but he comes around and relaxes really quick. And so he's a lot lower key than a lot of other animals. So he doesn't have any adoption fee just because he's 8 years old. Our dogs, once they are 8 years old and up, their adoption fees are $75. So it is less than our younger dogs, but it is important to note that any animal who has any sort of special needs as a result of, could be their age, any sort of infirmity, special diets, those animals we will waive fees for, no matter how old they are. So even if it's a 3-year-old cat, but if that 3-year-old cat's on a prescription medication for urinary crystals or something fairly minor, but that's going to take a long-term care that's out of the norm, those adoption fees are also waived.
Now, Maria, tell us about some of the other partners you work with in Montgomery County.
So we have a lot of rescue partners that help us take care of the animals, keep our populations low. So sometimes we'll even transfer animals out from here. And then we work with a lot of nonprofits that help support the shelter financially. So we work with Montgomery County Partners for Animal Wellbeing, who sometimes helps to fund medical care, but very importantly, helps run our pet pantry and food bank. And every Saturday, they bring food over to St. Stephen's at the Shrine of St. Jude's to help people in need. And so they bring pet food over there. Friends of Montgomery County Animals is another one of our big supporters, and they help provide us with a number of enrichment items, such as cat scratchers that get hung up on all of the cages, and they've purchased harnesses for all of our dogs. On top of that, they also do their own rescue and work with us, with some of our animals and other shelters.
Now, do you have a lost and found program?
We do. As the open admissions shelter in Montgomery County, any lost pet that someone finds or that animal control goes to pick up comes to our shelter. We have a very high return to owner rate, which is fantastic. We work really hard to make sure we can get as many pets as possible back to their families where they belong. So our return to owner rate for dogs and cats is more than double the national average. All of our staff at the front desk, I'll say, like, they know every single missing pet in the county by sight. They are so on top of if the animal is posted as missing on any website whatsoever, they could spot it if it walks in the door. It's really impressive. They've done it before. They've got some pretty impressive return to owner stories because they're really that good and that dedicated to getting pets back to their families, which is really what we're here to do, is to make happy homes.
Speaking of making happy homes, Maria, the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center, they have a lot of people that like to get involved. So how can residents do that?
There are tons of ways to get involved. We are always recruiting volunteers. So if you want to come into the shelter and get to spend time with some of our lovely animals, you can visit our website, and we have a link to get involved, which will take you to our volunteer page, which has instructions on how to sign up to be a volunteer. Another thing we have that is an awesome thing to do, especially if you're a little concerned about the commitments of a pet, is foster. Fostering is a life-saving thing for animals in shelters. And it's like all of the benefits of owning a pet with none of the downfalls. So no expenses whatsoever. All of the medical is taken care of by us. You just have to make sure you can drive the animal back here for it. We'll provide all of the supplies, food, litter box, whatever is needed. We'll take care of that. You don't need to find a pet sitter if you're going on vacation. The animal can just come back to the shelter. It is literally all of the best things about owning a pet, except you have to say goodbye when somebody else decides to adopt it. But if you're not sure that you're ready for a full commitment of what could be another 10 years with a cat like there, fostering is a great thing to do because it's such a stressful environment that having an animal just be in your home makes such a difference. And a lot of people be like, well, my home is too small. I'll tell you what, your home is bigger than any one of the cages we have here. And so it is an upgrade no matter what. I will tell you that much.
Now, Maria, if I want to make a donation, how can I go about doing that?
It's very easy to donate to us. So we take in-kind donations of all sorts of different things. And some of them are even things that you wouldn't necessarily think of. So donations can be dropped off at the center doors any day of the week. And if we're closed, they can just be dropped off at the front doors and we'll get them. But we take in towels and bedding, which are always really, really important because we go through them a lot. But there's also really cool things that you wouldn't think of necessarily to donate, like your empty paper towel rolls or toilet paper holders. They actually make really great toys and enrichment for our small animals and even cats, because you can actually fill them with hay or treats, and it gives them just another thing to do. And that's not something anybody ever really thinks about donating, but that and newspapers and sort of things that are sort of trash in most cases are actually really, really helpful for your shelter. Corks, wine corks are another great thing. They make fantastic cat toys. And then of course, bedding, your new toys, your dog toys, especially for bigger dogs, are always in need.
Sounds like we can repurpose a lot of useful items.
Yes, that you can.
We provide a lot of flexible options for people to get involved. Now, Maria, you do the work not only of the people, but obviously of our favorite companion. So I want to personally thank you. Now, how can we stay in contact with you?
Well, if you visit our website and you put to the Contact Us page, there are email addresses for the various departments that we have. all of which are monitored. My email address is also listed on there, so you're of course welcome to reach out to me personally, and I am happy to speak anytime. And those are the best ways to get a hold of us. The phone number for the facility is another great way, and that one is 240-773-5900.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today, Maria.
It was wonderful.
Well, that concludes our program for today on pets. They are our companions. They help us to stay healthy. They are also the delight of admiration and pleasure for our temporary and permanent connection to enhance life's well-being. I also want to wish our viewers a happy new year and to share a photo of the pet who enriches my life. That's my little brother, Max. As you can see, the voices of those 50 plus matter every day and in every way. To learn more about services for seniors in Montgomery County, please visit the Montgomery County Seniors website by visiting montgomerycountymd.gov/senior or call the Senior Resource Line at 240-777-3000. As always, thank you for watching 50 Plus in Montgomery County.